everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Marie Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from the edge of the Great Red Divide in our studio in Marseilles, Illinois.
Before we jump into today's topic of primaries and who to vote for, we're not picking particular candidates.
We're not telling you who to vote for.
No, we want you to like, share, subscribe. Find us on Demcast USA.
Always hit that like, follow, share, download button because it helps us get the message out. The more people that like, follow, share, subscribe, the higher we go in the rankings and more people can choose to listen to us then. So please do that. You don't know what that means to us. The other thing too, Marie, is that you can catch all of our back episodes on heartlandmamas.com.
Outstanding.
Because we often refer back to something we've done.
Yes, we do. And today will be no exception.
No exception.
But we've talked about candidates. We've talked about elections. We've covered a lot of that. And today we just kind of want to dig into what is important to Heidi and I when choosing a candidate.
Well, Marie,
we're not going to tell you vote for Biden. We're not going to tell you vote for Bernie. We're not going to tell you vote for Tulsi. We would never.
No, we will tell you not to vote for Tulsi.
To vote for Tulsi. It's about what qualities we look for and what you find important to you.
Right.
Because sometimes what I believe is the most qualified person, someone who is intelligent and hardworking, well-spoken, and has a birth of knowledge, is not what someone else may find as the most important thing. But we want to give you ideas on how to be knowledgeable, what to look for behind the lines.
Well, for a lot of people, Marie, their chosen candidate is no longer in the presidential race.
Yes, very true.
And we've gone from a huge field in the mid-20s down to two
old white guys.
And Tulsi Gabbard. And if you want to know how we feel about Tulsi and her ultra-right-wing nationalist ideology and her hatred of Muslims, please refer to our on-roll of Tulsi Gabbard we did a few months ago. Because she just whines and cries because she wants attention, and she really is not worthy.
So would you say that she's a Democrat?
No.
Okay. That's an issue that is coming up a lot.
Oh my gosh,
now.
that is coming up.
Not only in national politics, but also in local.
Well, she has a D after her name, and she has served as a Democrat in Congress. So she does have that going for her. We do have one candidate running for president who's got an I after their name, who sometimes caucuses with the Democrats, but on important votes often doesn't vote at all because he doesn't vote with the party or with the issue. So, but the larger volume of his message, and I'm talking about Bernie Sanders here, is something you have to decide if that's worthy of your vote. And the same thing with Joe Biden, who has always had, this is how my mother would put it with somebody like Joe Biden, and I can be like this too. He got his tongue wrapped around his eye tooth and he couldn't see what he was saying. So that's Joe. He just talks like that, you know? And sometimes I do too. I totally get it. It's like you're making a statement and then you lose your train of thought. You're like, where was I? But both of them have made votes in the past that you're not going to like. Both of them are old, pasty white boys in their late 70s, which we don't like. But we're going to not tell you which one to pick. We're going to pick. I don't even think you and I will talk about it before we go and vote. I kind of made my decision, but
I don't know yet. And to me, whatever is decided by the rest of the country, I'll go along with.
I'm a vote blue no matter who, except for Tulsi Gabbard. I really have a problem with her.
The most important thing for us, as we've said before, is making sure we flip the Senate, but also holding on to the House, and more importantly, our local races.
Well, all politics is local, Marie.
It is. Everything is local.
Your library board, your school board, your mayor,
your park district.
Yeah, your councilmen, council people, because there's a lot of women that serve now. All of those positions going up through the state ranks, your state houses, your representatives and your senators, to your congressmen, all of those are so local. And really, we focus on the presidential race. You need to focus on who's on your damn library board, you know? So it
does make a difference. 100%.
I watch what's happening in some of our local boards. We have a local community that's having a wrestle over their 911 board, for Pete's sake. These things are really important.
Particularly county boards,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly one role in the county government, particularly is the clerk.
Oh, yes.
We have a Democratic clerk in Will County for the first time in a very long time.
Thank goodness.
And so that race isn't up, but there are those that are up, and there are those like we can see. Heidi, you said how many?
Well, we know that in any county clerk, in county clerk offices that are held by Republicans, there can be up to a 78% increase in voter suppression. And that has happened right here, even in Illinois, which is a pretty progressive state right now, has always had integrity in voting. I know that we joke about vote early, vote often here in Illinois, and that's simply not true. We have our checks and balances. we like to joke about Chicago politics out here in the sticks, but we have a local Republican county clerk that is violating Illinois state constitutional law by asking for identification at polling places. We don't have voter ID in Illinois. You go in, you get your ballot, you fill it out. You don't have to be accountable to anybody. And you know what? We don't have issues with our voter security at all in Illinois. We've done that since time immemorial. But what she's trying to do is prevent people from voting, especially if they're pulling a Democratic ballot.
Remember, your clerks are also responsible for your marriage licenses.
Right.
For any of those things. And we see that in Kansas how many years ago when they refused, the Secretary of State, or the county clerk refused to acknowledge their certificate and wouldn't process it even though it was the law. So just like the local clerk who is taking a decision into their own hands.
Her name was Kim something.
Yeah.
And she'd had multiple marriages and affairs, and yet she was judging two guys that wanted to get married. And, one of those guys ran for office and beat her.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think when karma's in full bloom, it's a lovely and wondrous thing.
And sometimes you don't get what you want. Sometimes the smartest, best candidates aren't the ones that get through.
Yeah.
And like we had said, then you have to think about it and support what you've got, but that doesn't mean you won't turn around and...
Your clerks races are just... They're the ones that are going to do the accounting for your race. So...
The clerks are so important. So if you have a county clerk race up, please pay attention to that. That's someone you want to make sure is a Democrat.
We had also in Kansas, a county clerk was having them hand out Republican ballots in the primary when you can take either ballot. And we've had that happen here in Illinois as well. So make sure that you look at the ballot, make sure you got the ballot you wanted. Make sure that you vote for the candidates that you've researched. And we realize people are lazy voters. So we're going to give you a little reference here. And I want you to get out your pen and paper, because this is my favorite source for checking out my candidates. And I do this all the time. Ballotpedia, ballotpedia.org. Now, so important to me that I have them on a regular monthly donation process. It's only $25 a month, but for what they do, that $300 a year, I think helps, because it goes over every candidate without telling you who to vote for, without telling you vote Republican, vote Democratic, vote Independent. It just tells you, their position. And then when you pull up their page, you say who is running in my area. You can just web search that or search that right on their site, and then it'll flip a bunch of people. Maybe there's 3 people in the race in the primary, and then you just click on their website or click on their Facebook page or click on their Twitter and read all about them. Beware the ones that don't have a very built out page, and I'll tell you why, Marie. Some people will hide stuff and not post links to their personal pages, or not personal pages, but their social media, because they might say one thing in public because they want your vote, but in private they're like, I'm a right to lifer. I think that's really important, because we've seen there's a race, a county or two east of me, where we see that we have Democrats running that are pro-birthers, and they're running for a state Senate seat. Now, here in Illinois, we passed RHA, so women's reproductive rights are always held as the rights of a sentient being. You don't get to debate it. So in that race, we have two people that are pro-birthers and one that supports RHA and a woman's right to choose. Now, one woman that's running in that race has not come out and said publicly that she's a pro-birther, but she has privately enough that those of us that are in the community know that that's her stance, but she buries that. So you need to make sure if women's rights are human rights and that's important to you, that you look for the candidate that's come out and said, this is what I believe. This is what I believe, and this is what's important to me. And in that race, and I think it's in your county, in Will County.
It is in Will County, yes.
We have to understand that right now we have...
Will County, we have quite a few
Republicans that are running as Democrats.
It's a bit confusing.
You really need to check your Ballotpedia.
Wow!
Holy
yeah.
cow! Even your coroner's race in
Yes,
Will County.
The coroner's race.
Of all things, your coroner. Can you imagine you're dead and you need to know if your coroner's Republican or Democrat or pretending
matter.
to be somebody else?
Right. It is completely.
What the heck? I mean, I thought LaSalle County, where I live, was.
No, Will County is messed up, dude. Oh, I'm sorry. I've seen a lot of counties, and I will say we are wackadoo. Well, Will County, but they're like a cross. They're a cross between Cook County, which is machine oriented.
Well, it used to be.
And then old school boys.
Yeah.
And then real people, and so it's this crossroads.
It is a weird. We were just talking about
so
what we call
weird.
They also have what I refer to as the penis candidate, which is an old white guy.
Yeah.
And so
it is.
Sorry, men. I know we have a lot of male followers, but you see it too. You see the penis candidates. We have. I'm running for president right now, So those are the old white guys that get respect because they're old white guys. That's it. That's why they're on the ballot. And by old white guy, I mean any white man over 50. And I'm over 50, so but I calls them as I sees them.
I mean, for me, Heidi and I have talked about being candidates and running for office and all different types of things. So. Yep. It's sometimes hard for me to differentiate a campaign from a candidate. And the reason that I say that is because when you're as entrenched in these things as I am, I believe that how a campaign is run is indicative of the candidate.
I believe that too.
So I see, the candidates talking. I see the debates. We've met them. We talk to them.
Yeah.
Like in my state Senate race, there are 3, and I've spoken at length to all of them. And the thing that is interesting is if you see the effort put into the campaign, you see who the candidate is.
I think that's so true. I think when you see that work ethic, somebody who's out knocking doors every day, that's at every event. I mean, I went to 4 fish fries on one Friday one time, but I didn't beat my the late Patrick Welch. I think he did 6 corned beef and cabbages in one day. I mean, I'm so out on both of those meals, but but when you see him out there doing the deal, because it's so important to them. That's the work ethic they bring to the office.
It is. It's about who wants to do the job.
Yeah.
I think we
hungry.
I think oftentimes when we talk about our benches and earning your place or wanting someone to take a position because they're a protege or, it's political or power, whatever the case is, that comes across as they become legislators. And when you have
like a legacy candidate?
Yes,
right.
Like a legacy candidate.
Dan Lipinski, who is
a legacy candidate
because his dad held the office.
Yes.
Thank God he's got a challenger again this time with Marie Newman. What seat is that?
The Illinois Congressional District 3.
3, okay. Because Dan Lipinski is really a Republican who runs as a Democrat who took the seat of his father and has not been accountable for anything, not his ideology, not his voting record, nothing, because he's running on his father's last name. So you have a person that's just, he has never voted as a Democrat. He votes goosed up with the Republicans, and it's really very disturbing. Very disturbing.
And so we have some of those folks, and with the way the climate is in D.C., I think it's, as we've said, it's even more important to make sure that your states are reflecting what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
That the politicians and the legislators, the candidates down the line, are in touch. And like Heidi said, it's one hell of a long job interview.
It is. It's a very long job interview, and that's how I looked at it when I was running for office.
That's how I looked at it too.
Right, that you're running.
People need to get to know me, but I also need to get to know them. Any good interview is going to consist of you asking questions and them asking you questions. Right. We think, oh, they're going to hire me when you're young. Oh, and then when we get old and cocky, we're like, you're going to hire me. But really what it is a combination of the two. It's a give and take. Yeah. And that's what an election is. I'm going to give you my ideas, and I would like to take your ideas as well. Right. What can we do?
So can I make a point about a legacy candidate?
Yes, please.
That I think is really important is a lot of times the legacy candidate in any race, and I don't care if it's your county board person or your president, they're going to rest on the laurels of the person that preceded them. And that value system is going to come forward and continue to be embraced, whether you like it or not. And the problem with that is that, to me, that's kind of spineless, to not be your own person, to not be your own individual, right? We watched that early on in the presidential races. We had one candidate, Buttigieg, that every single stump speech he made was word for word something Obama had said. To me, that was like, my God, he's plagiarizing again. But I want you to understand that ideology wouldn't be bad to bring forward, but you got to have your own ideas and you got to stand on your own principles. And I see that in races around the country where people are just like, I'm the legacy candidate, so you have to vote for me, and you may not have liked what your previous politician did for your area, but I'm going to do the same.
And the legacy candidates are more entitled.
Oh, my God, yes.
Legacy candidates are not out there working for the vote. Legacy candidates are depending on the endorsements, the donations, the money that their predecessors have. It's being traveled downhill.
Right.
Now, does that mean
you know what else
they...
downhill?
Poopy runs downhill.
But you need to consider that when you're voting, and a lot of times you may not know that it's a legacy candidate, but look for that endorsement. That's always a dead giveaway. And
look at that. Oh, Heidi, you just reminded me of something. You want to see a good sample of whether a candidate is working or not is to look at their Illinois Sunshine. Or their
Sunshine,
look at their financials.
That's here, just in Illinois. That's going to tell you what their financials are.
But look at what they've raised.
Yeah,
where they have raised that money,
where it came from. Yep,
and if you look, there's some
beholden to
$60,000-$70,000 raised. That's all from two sources.
Yeah.
As opposed to being $50,000 raised from multiple sources, lots of small donations, mid-sized donations. That should show you which message is resonating more if you're still stuck.
Well, and I think I'm going to return a little bit to the one race in Will County where you have a teachers union endorsing a candidate. And that candidate turned around and took an endorsement and money from a charter school. Now, my problem with that, Marie, is that that's a huge conflict of interest. My family is a long line of retired teachers, but they were public school teachers. I had aunts and great aunts and brothers and sisters-in-law that were teachers. I've been a teacher, but not in the public school system, just as a writing instructor. But the thing with charter schools is charter schools take money out of our public school system. There's no way around that. And when you take money, my tax dollars, and give it to a private entity without my consent, I have a huge problem with that. Our public schools are supposed to be the best they can possibly be.
So again, This candidate is a teacher. She got a teaching union endorsement, the one that she works for.
Yeah.
Charter schools are also quite often used to circumvent union and union rules.
Right.
Although they have had some luck in
Chicago, they're union now.
Unionizing them, yeah. But
Big
if
cities,
you put
yeah.
them together, it doesn't make sense. So when you see a candidate endorsed by two different organizations,
That's so counterproductive. I mean, just
you have to go, who are you going to side with?
Marie,
are you really telling me that your public education is the most important thing to you? Which, by the way, this candidate, the reason she became a Democrat was because
her teacher union?
Public education, she realized to
the value.
In 18.
Marie, I have said over and over again, anytime you put a layer of profit between people and product, the people lose out.
Privatization is the worst thing that you can do.
I don't care if it's
government.
in prisons or in public schools.
In every example,
healthcare.
I challenge any one of our listeners.
That's the whole issue with healthcare, is that layer of profit between the people and the doctor. That's the problem with healthcare, bottom line.
And I'll
Same
tell
thing
you,
with education.
I challenge anyone out there to find a government, state, local, federal, well, maybe not local, maybe at the municipal level, there have been some, but at a state or federal level where privatizing a service worked out better.
We have a local county that wanted to close its jail and farm out its prisoners, just taking them over there Monday morning to another county. So this idiot's idea, this woman Republican woman's idea, is let's keep our criminals, like let them go home, and on Monday we'll pick them all up and take them to the other county's jail. And I'm like, good luck finding them. If they're a violent criminal, WTF. Are you going to chain? Well, one guy said to me, what is she thinking she's going to chain him out on the courthouse lawn until we can drive him over? I'm like, I know. It's like some people say
okay. Was the courthouse like condemned? Did they have to be out? Was it blowing up? Why not just wait till Monday and then move everybody then? What the hell?
I know.
Were they evicted? Could they not get a stay for 2 days? This is some crazy shit.
Was not my county, but when I heard it related to me by people who live in that county, I'm like, wait.
Okay.
What? Wait, what?
That is some messed up.
So pay attention to who you're voting for, because you know what? That woman's gotten reelected several times to her county board, and she still says stupid crap like that.
And if you're talking about county boards, we have people who want to turn our county into a sanctuary county for guns. The things
what
that
does an inanimate object need a sanctuary? Can I get a sanctuary county for my car? Because I really love the Black Pearl. I mean, I think I need a sanctuary county for her.
Yeah.
For an inanimate object? Are you freaking serious?
I'm telling you, it is absolutely nuts. But the important thing, we really want you to understand.
I'm a stapler and I feel so oppressed. I'm sorry, Murray. I'm just like, what the?
Hey, girl, I get it.
Oh my God! I think I've probably met this person. So
I think
yeah.
So I guess for me,
I'm gonna have to push back.
Heidi's done. We've lost Heidi. So we're gonna cut to a clip of me dancing until she's done. No, I'm kidding. We're not cutting. I'm just dancing. My fingers are dancing.
Right. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, we're good. We're good.
Sometimes stuff happens, Murray, and
the absurdity of the world between pigeons and MAGA hats.
Don't start with me again.
I know.
I can't handle that.
Sanctuary cities for guns.
Yeah, or staplers or my car.
Alabama.
No.
Yeah.
It's Alabama.
You're just
Florida.
Like, no. We don't have, Heidi's right. There's not enough time to talk about Alabama.
Please, let's not take our lead from Alabama.
Oh my God, though. Alabama there's stupidity.
That's the people they elect. We don't want Alabama stupidity in the Midwest and the Great Red Divide.
No, and I'd just like to address, so some people are one-issue voters. Yes. And that's okay. And you can be a one-issue voter.
Defeating Donald Trump.
Okay, well, I meant locally, too, all right? Okay. Like, something is really important to them, and I give you the most respect in the world for that. That's great. But some people are multiple-issue voters. I am asking you, when you go to the polls, to take an intelligent, active role. Look at your sample ballot.
Yeah.
Look at those candidates that are on that ballot. Make a little cheat sheet when you go into the polls. If you don't know and can't find, ask a friend. Phone a friend.
Phone a friend. You know what? I always carry a cheat sheet, and they will mail you a sample ballot in most counties, and if they don't, you can print one out on your computer, or you can pull one up and just look at it and just make some notes. But especially when we get into the judges' candidates and things where I've had to do some research, and don't be a lazy voter. Do your research. Your tax dollars that you complain about are paying to support these people. You might as well know what they stand for.
Absolutely. And I look for someone with a birth of knowledge.
They're making more money than I am. They better be accountable.
I look for someone who's grown. Mm-hmm. And when I mentioned the campaign earlier, seeing how a campaign is run is really important. Looking at the money is really important. Looking at endorsements all those things. All those things are factors
if they're a legacy
in deciding.
Candidate, make sure that you agreed with the person who
is leaving.
Because if you didn't agree with that person, you're not going to agree with the person that they've chosen to
their
lead
heir
on.
apparent.
Right. So those are huge things. And if you notice, like our last Democratic president took no role, made no endorsement in our Democratic primary at all. Made no endorsement and still hasn't. He's just letting us decide. He's letting us figure it out, which is because it's important for people to decide what they want.
There's some talk that there were conversations behind the scenes that happened
where
Bloomberg
polls. Just used his image and words all over the place, but who's going to sue Bloomberg?
No. Like that was not even his suspicion. It was, I think that.
Oh well.
Anyway.
We're down
again, politics is just so incredibly interesting. And to me, the things that mean the most are someone who's willing to work. I don't like people who aren't willing to put the effort in. I don't like people who don't listen. I don't feel I am represented by someone who who hasn't made any attempt to grow. We talk about purity tests, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we talk about whether they're a Republican or a Democrat. We talk about what their stand is. Anyone can change over time.
Yes.
Joe Biden may have voted for
Defense of Marriage Act.
There you go.
But he's completely changed.
And that, to me, shows more about a person than someone who has been consistent all the way through.
Of taking present votes? Sorry. Sorry. That's like if you want to show me that you have no spine, take a vote Tulsi Gabbard where you're
I would
present.
Much rather see a legislator take a vote I disagreed with.
Yeah.
And be able to say, hey, this is why I did it. I could respect that. But when you vote present,
it's a giant FU to your constituency.
It is. You're saying that you have that you staying in power is more important than what's important for the people.
Exactly. I can't stand spineless politicians.
If I hear in this race, this Senate race, one more time, I have to do what the district wants me to do, or the reason I vote the way I do is because, well, I'm in a very...
Okay,
I want to see the frickin' poll. Show me the last poll that was done that you found out what your district wanted. Because I live in your district, and I know a lot of people in your district, including district that's on what you consider the very conservative edge. And I'll tell ya... do a poll.
Well, I had that that same conversation with my state representative. I know my state senator, the one I ran against, is always going to vote in a way contrary to how I think you feel.
Hey, people, hop.
But I expect
real
it from
quick
a Republican.
Sue Resin is running for 14th Congressional District
against the amazing
Lauren Underwood. I think all of them running against her are horrible human beings.
Oh my God! Have you seen the slate of candidates?
Oh, it's like they
jeez.
called the despicables out from under the wall. Well, they did that too in other Democratic races. It's kind of interesting.
Well, when Hillary Clinton was talking about the deplorables, they picked out a basket of Republican deplorables to run in the primary, not to primary Lauren Underwood, but to face her in the fall. And it's like, God, if any of you win, you can't hide from your voting record. You just can't. You are what we think you are, which is really bad.
And
so
we need to wrap this up here.
Yeah.
You guys have been great in listening as long as you have, but I want to say something else.
Yep.
There's something called cognitive dissonance in life. And cognitive dissonance is when you see something or hear something or experience something and something doesn't seem right. It's what your brain automatically, it's what your senses tell you isn't right, but your brain normalizes. It's a physiological and psychological phenomenon that happens.
Do we do that when we vote?
I do believe we do that when we vote. So what I want you to do is please, if you pick up anything odd when you're reading, when you're watching videos, when you're watching people, and something in your brain goes, well, that was weird, take a moment and go, what was weird about it? Because if you challenge your brain's instant acceptance, you might see way beyond the picture of what you're seeing already. And it takes just a second, but it means... Are you confused?
I'm trying to think about how... this. I am a rather fiery speech maker, and but sometimes I get my tongue wrapped around my eye tooth and can't figure out where see what I'm saying. That doesn't happen too often, but some people are better at giving speeches than others, and certainly you and I have met enough people that give crummy speeches that are really good politicians and really good public servants. So, but I think that the disconnect with me is people who are disingenuous that say something, but they mean something else, or maybe okay. And I'm going to bring Pete Buttigieg up again, just for a second, because he came out and said, "I'm the progressive candidate you want," when he's not a progressive at all. So use that buzzword because he's a very centrist Democrat, and I thought, do you hear yourself when you talk?
Oh, yeah.
So
they're all going to do that. I mean, but Heidi brought up a good point. So let's say when you listen to someone or you read what they're writing, remember they're doing it to impress you or for what they think you want to hear.
Yeah.
And maybe not necessarily. So if you listen to someone speak and they're not answering questions directly, they're pivoting off of questions.
And to
their
talking
turning
points.
it to their talking points. Or they're not even capable of talking about their talking points.
Oh, my God.
Those are things you really
This
need
next
to say.
presidential debate.
No matter who was the person in before, even if it was a legacy and you loved the person that was there before, really look at who that next person is, because you might be surprised at what you find.
Well, I think anytime you have the opportunity to vote, and I was just at a dinner the other night where we celebrated the 100 years that women were given.
I hate that.
That word.
I hate that. That makes me
given
sick
the
to my
right to
stomach.
vote. But that's.
I know we were granted. We were given. We were deigned worthy.
Yeah.
I know, but it just makes my skin crawl when I hear it.
I live for the day when women are deigned equal, and worthy of controlling our own bodies without being, regulated like a car. Anyway, having said that, when I was at that dinner, I thought how lucky we are. How lucky we are, women and men, to be able to vote. But mostly for us women, we have to realize that our vote, every vote we make, counts towards the future, not just of us, but for our children and our grandchildren and our nieces and nephews and even our grandmothers. As we move forward, we have to understand that any time you can negate a human right with your vote, to regulate somebody's body, to prevent them from voting, to whatever it is, to give sanctuary status to an inanimate object, you change the environment for which we live. And these things will become more and more important. You get enough people in that believe that staplers should have sanctuary, you're going to have staplers all over your county. I'm just telling you. So you have to think about the process all the way through, all the way to the end. And I know that people don't often like doing mental gymnastics like I do. People don't always want to fully build out a
we
plan.
understand
to the
you don't
end.
have time and energy to do this, but remember, all politics are local, and
Yeah.
it really affects you. Everything from your taxes to how quickly your response
To the
time of
curriculum.
ambulances get to your house.
The curriculum they choose to teach your children with.
So really look into these folks that you're putting in a position of power and vote smart.
Vote smart. I mean, there's a
Votesmart.org.
that's also an excellent place to look for information. And I'm going to put one more plug in for vote.org. Check your status today. Make sure.
Vote.org.
Yeah, make sure that your status is up to date. You can also register to vote on there if you're not registered to vote, or if you know people that aren't registered to vote, in 2 minutes. Anywhere in the country, anywhere where you can cast a U.S. ballot, even in Puerto Rico, even in Guam, even in American Samoa, even in the Virgin Islands, vote.org. If you're listening to us there, enjoy the happy weather.
Okay, we certainly are not enjoying ours.
It's just a rainy
March day.
Well, you know.
So thanks so much for
It's a
tuning
little
in. Take that time. Be an active voter.
Yep.
Really think about what you're voting for. Decide your own beliefs.
Politics
and
is a contact sport.
not even necessarily your own policy firm lines, but who you feel as a person. We need to trust our guts.
Yeah.
And really believe in who we're picking.
Right.
So again, find us on Demcast USA, Heartland Mamas.
MAMAS.com.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.